Have you ever felt unstoppable after watching a motivational video, only to find yourself back to old habits just a few days later? That's because motivation doesn't last, and it was never designed to. The real question is, if motivation fades, what actually keeps people going? Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. How many times have you felt fired up after watching a motivational video, reading a book, or attending a seminar, only to feel that same fire fade away within a few days? This is the truth. Motivation doesn't last. It's like a spark. It burns bright for a moment, but if there's no fuel, it quickly dies out. And that's where most people get stuck. They wait for motivation to keep them going, not realizing that success is built on something much deeper and far more reliable. Today, I'm going to share with you why motivation doesn't last, and what actually works instead. Motivation is an emotion, not a strategy. Here's the problem with motivation. It feels amazing in the moment, but it's incredibly unreliable. One day you wake up feeling unstoppable. You're ready to hit the gym, work on your goals, and take on the world. But the very next day, you might feel tired, stressed, or distracted, and suddenly that motivation is gone. Why? Because motivation is nothing more than an emotion. It's no different than excitement, fear, or happiness. And just like any other emotion, it rises and falls depending on your mood, your energy levels, and even external factors you can't control. Think about it. If you only brushed your teeth when you felt motivated, how often would you do it? Not very consistently, right? That's exactly what happens when people rely on motivation to build their dreams. They start strong, but the moment the emotional high disappears, so does their effort. That's why gyms are packed in January and half empty by February. Here's the truth. Motivation is great for getting started, but it's a terrible long-term strategy. It's like lighting a match. Yes, it produces a spark, but unless you add fuel, that flame dies in seconds. Success is not built on sparks. It's built on systems, routines, and habits that keep you moving forward even when you don't feel motivated. So instead of asking yourself, how can I stay motivated? Start asking, how can I design my life so I don't need motivation to keep going? Because if your progress depends on a feeling that comes and goes, you'll never be consistent. But if you build a structure around your goals, you'll keep moving forward, no matter how you feel in the moment. Discipline outlasts motivation. Motivation may be the spark that gets you started, but discipline is the engine that keeps you going. Think of motivation as the excitement of buying a new car. It feels great for a moment, but it doesn't get you anywhere unless you put fuel in the tank and actually drive it. That fuel is discipline. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up early to exercise when your body wants to stay in bed. It's sitting down to work on your business when Netflix is calling your name. It's saying no to short-term comfort because you value long-term results more. And here's the truth. Nobody feels motivated all the time. Even the most successful people, the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the artists, have days when they don't want to show up. The difference is, they don't wait for motivation. They rely on discipline. Think about elite athletes. Do you believe they're motivated to train every single day? Of course not. But they do it anyway because they've built a system of discipline into their lives. That's why they win medals, while others who only train when they feel like it never reach that level. Discipline creates consistency, and consistency creates results. Motivation is like weather. It changes daily. Discipline is like gravity. It's always there if you practice it. When you learn to act based on commitment rather than feelings, you gain control over your life. So here's the key. Stop chasing the high of motivation and start building the muscle of discipline. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you finishing the race again and again. Habits make success automatic. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing success comes from massive bursts of effort fueled by motivation. In reality, success comes from what you do repeatedly, not occasionally. That's where habits come in. Habits are powerful because they take decision-making out of the equation. When something becomes a habit, you no longer have to rely on willpower or motivation. You just do it automatically. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't wake up every morning asking yourself, am I motivated to brush my teeth today? You just do it because it has become a natural part of your daily routine. The same principle applies to success. If you can build habits around the actions that move you closer to your goals, those actions stop requiring effort and start becoming part of who you are. For example, if your goal is to get fit, going to the gym shouldn't be something you debate every day. Instead, make it a habit by setting a fixed schedule, like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. Once it becomes part of your lifestyle, you'll stop questioning it. Another example is reading. If you read just 10 pages a day, that might not feel like much in the moment, but over a year, that's 3,650 pages, equivalent to 12 to 15 books. Small daily habits compound into massive long-term results. Habits also protect you on the days when you feel unmotivated. You may not feel like working, but if it's already your habit to sit at your desk every morning at 9 a.m., your body and mind will naturally follow through. That's why the most successful people focus less on getting motivated and more on building habits. Here's the bottom line. Success is not about doing something extraordinary once in a while. It's about doing the ordinary things consistently until they become second nature. Habits turn hard work into autopilot. And when success becomes automatic, you no longer need motivation to push you forward. Clear goals give you direction. One of the biggest reasons motivation fades so quickly is because most people don't have a clear target. Imagine trying to shoot an arrow without a bullseye. How long would you stay motivated if you didn't even know where you were aiming? That's exactly how most people live their lives. They say things like, I want to be successful, or I want to be healthier, but those goals are vague and undefined. Without clarity, motivation has nothing to hold on to, so it disappears. Clear goals are powerful because they act like a roadmap. When you know exactly where you're headed, every action you take has purpose. Let's say your goal is not just get fit, but run a 5K in under 30 minutes by December 1st. Suddenly, your workouts aren't random. They're aligned with a specific outcome. Every run you take, every meal you eat, and every hour of rest you get all connect back to that clear objective. That sense of direction fuels consistency, which is far more reliable than motivation. Another key part of clear goals is measurement. If you can't track your progress, you won't feel a sense of achievement. And when progress feels invisible, motivation dies quickly. That's why you need measurable goals. Losing 10 pounds, saving $5,000, writing 500 words a day. Measurable goals let you see progress, and progress creates momentum. Clarity also eliminates decision fatigue. If you don't know what you're aiming for, you waste mental energy trying to figure out your next move every day. But when your goals are specific, the path becomes simple. It's no longer a question of should I do this, but this is what I do because it aligns with my goal. In the end, clear goals give your efforts meaning. Motivation without direction is like stepping on the gas with no map. You're moving, but you're lost. With clear goals, every step takes you closer to your destination. And when you see the path ahead, you don't need to depend on motivation. You can depend on progress. Environment shapes behavior more than willpower. Many people believe that success is purely about willpower, that if you're strong enough mentally, you can push through any obstacle. But here's the truth. Your environment has more influence over your behavior than your inner strength. In fact, willpower is limited. No matter how determined you are, if your environment constantly tempts you to go off track, eventually you'll give in. That's why changing your surroundings is far more effective than relying only on self-control. Think about it this way. If you're trying to eat healthier but your kitchen is filled with chips, cookies, and soda, how long can you resist? Every time you see those snacks, your brain has to fight a battle. But if you stock your home with fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins, you don't need willpower. The environment does the work for you. The same is true for productivity. If your workspace is cluttered, noisy, and filled with distractions like your phone, Netflix, or constant notifications, your willpower will be drained just trying to stay focused. But if you create a clean, quiet, dedicated workspace and remove unnecessary temptations, your environment naturally pushes you toward focus. Successful people understand this principle deeply. They design their environments to make the right choice the easy choice, and the wrong choice the hard one. They surround themselves with people, tools, and systems that encourage progress rather than sabotage it. For example, if you want to exercise consistently, join a gym close to your house, or keep your workout clothes ready the night before. If you want to read more, place books in visible areas instead of hiding them away on a shelf. Your environment isn't just physical, it's also social. The people you spend time with shape your behavior more than you realize. If your friends are lazy, unmotivated, and negative, it will rub off on you. But if you surround yourself with ambitious, disciplined, and positive people, their energy will elevate you. Here's the bottom line. Don't rely on raw willpower to change your life. Build an environment that works for you, not against you. Because when your surroundings support your goals, you don't need to constantly force yourself to make good choices. They become the natural path. Accountability creates consistency. Motivation often fades when no one is watching. When it's just you, it's easy to say, "I'll do it tomorrow," or "I'll start again next week." But when someone else is counting on you, everything changes. That's the power of accountability. It creates external pressure that keeps you consistent, even when internal motivation runs out. Think about a time when you promised a friend you'd meet them at the gym. Even if you didn't feel like going, you still showed up because you didn't want to let them down. That's accountability in action. It's a powerful force because humans naturally care about how others see them. We want to be reliable, we want to be respected, and we want to avoid disappointing the people around us. Accountability can take many forms. It could be a workout partner, a mentor, a coach, or even a supportive online community. It can be as simple as telling a friend your goals and asking them to check in weekly. It can also be more structured, like hiring a trainer who tracks your progress, or joining a mastermind group where everyone shares updates on their achievements. The most successful people rarely rely on motivation alone. They build accountability systems. Athletes have coaches, entrepreneurs have advisors, and writers have editors or publishing deadlines. These external forces push them to keep going when their internal drive weakens. Accountability also builds momentum. Once you report progress consistently, you don't want to break the chain, and that keeps you moving forward. Even self-accountability works. Tools like habit trackers, journals, or apps can give you a visual reminder of your progress. When you see the streak of days you've completed a task, you'll feel motivated to keep it alive. That's why something as simple as crossing off days on a calendar can be so powerful. At the end of the day, motivation may spark the desire to start, but accountability ensures you don't stop. Alone, it's easy to quit. But with accountability, you'll push through challenges, stay consistent, and ultimately achieve results that motivation alone could never deliver. Purpose is stronger than motivation. Motivation is about wanting. It's that initial spark of excitement that makes you say, "I'm ready to change my life." But purpose is about why. It's the deeper reason that keeps you going long after the excitement fades. And this is what truly separates people who quit from people who succeed. When your actions are tied to a bigger purpose, you gain a level of strength and persistence that motivation alone can never provide. For example, a parent who works 2 jobs to provide for their children doesn't wake up every morning because they feel motivated. They do it because their purpose, providing a better future for their family, is stronger than their comfort. A student who studies late into the night isn't necessarily driven by motivation. They're fueled by the dream of becoming the first in their family to graduate. Purpose gives meaning to the struggle. When the workout feels hard, when the business faces setbacks, when life throws challenges at you, purpose reminds you why you started in the first place. Motivation may ask, "Do I feel like it today?" But purpose says, "I'm doing this because it matters." That shift in perspective is what allows people to endure, to sacrifice, and to push through pain that would stop others. Purpose also provides long-term vision. Motivation is short-term. It asks, "What do I want now?" Purpose looks far ahead. It asks, "Who do I want to become? What kind of life do I want to create? What impact do I want to leave behind?" And when your daily actions connect to that vision, every step, no matter how small, feels worthwhile. The strongest people in history, the leaders, the innovators, the changemakers, were not powered by fleeting motivation. They were powered by unshakable purpose. That's why they could endure failure after failure and still keep moving forward. Purpose is like a compass. Even when the journey gets dark, it points you in the right direction. Here's the bottom line. Motivation may get you started, but only purpose will carry you through the hardest days. When you discover your why, you'll find a source of strength that doesn't fade, doesn't weaken, and doesn't depend on how you feel in the moment. With purpose, you don't just chase success. You live it, breathe it, and persist until it's real.